Change is an opportunity for growth. Who dare to embrace it shall rule the world. Hi guys, my name is Amarnath Pandey and today I'm gonna talk about how to cope with change. No matter who you are, change is a powerful force in nature. And to be a productive member in the society, one must and should learn to embrace it. So for example, if you're a person with ADHD, you might feel very stressed about change and because you're not able to plan as deeply as you should. For people who have OCD might feel very anxious about it because they are now facing an abrupt change in their daily life. A normal person might overthink or underthink the consequences of change in their life. A person with very low IQ might not even understand that change has happened and still try to use the old methods of society. No matter who you are, change is a very powerful force in this nature. And in this video, we're gonna learn how to master it. So in my understanding, and philosophers like pre-Socratic, they understand that you cannot enter into the same river again because water is always flowing. So change is very, very constant and nothing else is constant. That might give a breathing ground for nihilistic ideologies. And if you know me, I do not stand behind that kind of philosophies. Nihilism, in my understanding, is not a plausible worldview. But to really understand how change works, we must understand the nature of it. Guys, if you're seeing change happen too rapidly in your life, that might mean that you're taking decisions very neurotically. You're not thinking things deep enough. And if you feel changes are not happening in your life, that might just mean you're not trying new things. So in any case, too less of changes and too much of changes, both are wrong. One should find a good balance between these two things, just like yin yang. So in this diagram, you might see two things. On the far left, we have too much changes, and on the far right, we have a very little change. So this is quite a depiction of leftist and rightist ideologies we see in the political circle. So of course, a good place to be in is on the center. But of course, the good state is not a singular point. It spans over a little bit of left and a little bit of right. So this is what you should be. So your life should not consist of too many changes very rapidly, and it should not consist of very little changes either. And if you want to understand it, let's understand the nature of changes. In my research and very deep thought, I found out that there are two types of changes. The changes we do have power over, and the changes we do not have power over. For the changes we do not have power over, we must and should learn how to cope. And we're gonna talk about it in a different video, which is about how to deal with pain and change. And if you find yourself constantly being surrounded by the changes to which you do not have power over, it is a plausible idea that the game might be rigged, perhaps by your government or by yourself. For example, if a person in North Korea is surrounded by the changes he/she does not have power over, that definitely means that game is rigged by the government. But that topic is for another video. Today we are gonna deep dive into the changes we do have power over. And in my understanding, we must take absolute precautions to make things right. So there are two types of changes in my opinion, a good change and a bad change. And you might feel good about the good changes, bad about the good changes. And separately, you might feel good about the bad changes and bad about the bad changes. Let's talk about those. Now let's start with the first possibility. A good change has happened and you feel good about it. An example of this scenario might be that you got a raise in your job So that is something you did right. As humans, we do embrace our mistakes and we do embrace our problems, but very rarely do we find a time to embrace our good doings. This might be a very good time to create a memory which might last longer. So these moments are sparks of joy that you must nurture. So now, second opinion. There might be a change which is good, but you feel absolutely bad about it. For example, a breakup might have happened and you might have been in a toxic relationship, but you feel dreadful about it. You feel that you're very broken. And my friend, in my opinion, that is growth. So changes which are good, but we feel bad about it, are a perfect example of growth. Growth is always painful in human life because pain makes us grow and growth requires pain. So we must understand in these situations and create, something of a diary and try to understand our emotions very deeply. In my understanding, creating a daily ledger, a journal, is very effective in this kind of situations. Now let's come to our more devilish part of our personalities, change, which is our bad. So change which has happened badly, but you feel good about it, might be an impulsive decision. For example, you started smoking very recently. You feel good about it, but it's a bad change. That, my friend, in my understanding, is impulse. Short-term pleasure, which is also known as, in my opinion, the devil's deal. And these kind of changes are most destructive to a human personality. And my friends, one should absolutely avoid it. How one should avoid it is to think deeply about what has happened, why it has happened. In my understanding, these kind of changes happen when we are not able to think about future objectively. So it's a very good opportunity to think that where do you want to go in your life? And that thinking might help you avoid these kind of changes. Now there are changes which are actually bad and you do feel bad about it. And that might just be the wrongdoings. Like, think about it, a change has happened badly and you feel bad about it. You might have hurt someone, you might have made a mistake. And what one should do? Well, there are, of course, narcissists for public figures that might say they have learned nothing from their failures. But let's see, you're not a narcissist. And even if you are, it's a very good opportunity to learn about your narcissism and try to make it more functional. So, coming back to the point, let's learn from the mistakes we have made, changes which are bad and we feel bad about it. For example, as I already did that, I guess. So coming back to the point, in these situations, in my understanding, a very good option is to, again, write what you think went wrong. Write how you reacted. Write how you should have reacted in a calm mind. And guys, in this scenario, you categorize your problems, your changes, you understand them more deeply with, of course, a pen and a paper. I'm very sorry about that. With, of course, a pen and a paper, which gives you a perfect understanding of your situations. And then you must create a framework all by yourself to make sure positive changes happen more frequently in your life and bad changes less. But again, if you're not making mistakes, maybe you're not trying new things. In the next video, I'm going to talk about how one should cope with pain of life, the misery, right? Till then, let's see if you guys don't fall into the ideas of nihilism. Thank you very much for listening to me. Please subscribe, like, and enjoy your day.